Guy, 24 male. Asked me, 22 female. What didn't click for me after a date, should I be honest? I went on a date last night, we met on a dating app. His pictures made him look a bit different, and he was very kind over text. When we met up I was surprised to see he was a much bigger person than one would believe after seeing his photos, also I noticed he smelled pretty bad. Like sweat. He was very nice, we went out and went bowling and continued to talk. He has very nice features, pretty eyes, a nice smile and cute nose. After he left he texted me saying he had a wonderful time and wanted to see me again, and I was honest with him that I wasn't really feeling it but I'd like to remain friends. I feel like the girl in all those ridiculous posts people make. He drove an hour to meet me and then paid our bill at the bowling alley before I had a chance to object. And I barely gave him anything other than a rejection. I feel awful, he's a super kind person and I just felt like I really screwed him over, but obviously I'm not going to force myself to do stuff with him that I am uncomfortable with. That's unfair to the both of us. He asked me what it was apt him that didn't click for me as he's always trying to improve himself. I don't think telling him, "You're bigger than I expected and smell bad. I'm not attracted to you," is a fair thing to say. But I honestly can't think of anything else. He's a perfect gentleman, opened all the doors for me, asked permission to place his arm around me, and he was a good listener and also funny and charming. I think he's got the personality down pat, but again, I can't force myself to feel attraction. I also want to be more concrete in that I am not interested and I don't wish to waste his time. What do I say? Update. This got a lot more attention than I was expecting it to. I got a lot of great advice though and some mixed reviews. I answered him honestly, I didn't bring up weight as I think other people are likely to enjoy his body type and it's not a big factor in his dating life. He wasn't morbidly obese, just too big for my liking unfortunately. I brought up the smell delicately, just that I noticed a sweaty smell and I understood it was probably due to his highly laborious job and the fact that we were both nervous, and I recommended a nice cologne but moved on from there. I told him how I felt apt his good qualities, and while I unfortunately wasn't attracted to him physically, that doesn't mean other women won't be. He thanked me and said he appreciated my honesty and that despite it not working out he was still glad we met and would like to remain friends. So everything is good. Thank you to everyone who offered their advice and also similar experiences. Much love to you all. Less than 3. Definitely give the feedback in a sandwich, positive, negative, positive. He's a nice guy, you should be honest. I would be honest. He is asking for feedback, and he should already know what he looks like. I think you can say he isn't your type. I would think he wants to be with someone who finds him attractive too. Definitely mention the smell. I agree with the other commenter that is an easy fix and something you should do on a date. I would compliment about his other features since that might make his day, and say something about the effort he put in to drive and pay for things as appreciated. Be brutally honest with him. Tell him exactly what you said in your post. This is how men learn to be better. Your personality is very sweet. Your pictures aren't accurate. I also noticed a body odor. If you update your photos and make sure to wear deodorant, you'll have better luck. Don't try to be friends. Do I forgive my 24 female husband 31 male for hurting me? So me and my husband have been married for 2 years and together for 7. We have been having bedroom issues for about 3 months now, and it's mostly my fault because usually I'm not in the mood or I'm just tired. We get along great and rarely have issues. We had a small argument about me having certain freedoms and choices without his input and the bedroom issue. He said he was going to the store and would be back in 30 minutes at 8 p.m., but that turned into him coming home at 3 a.m. really drunk, crashing and banging through the house and up the stairs. I thought someone had broken in, but when I saw it was him, I just told him to take off his outside clothes and get in bed to sleep it off. A couple of minutes later, while I'm trying to fall asleep, he starts touching me and putting his hands down my pants. I tell him that I'm tired and to stop, but he doesn't and continues. He managed to get on top of me and pulled my bottoms off and we start having sex. He put his hand in the back of my head and grabbed my hair so I couldn't move my head. I started reaching down to try and get him to stop, but he was pressed up against me. When he was finished, he just rolled over and went to sleep. He was always so nice to me and I thought I married a good and respectable man, but obviously not. The entire time he didn't even speak or even kiss me. He just stared at me. In the morning he acted like everything was fine and asked if I wanted him to make me breakfast. I asked if we were going to talk about last night and he said yes. When we sat down to eat, he apologized for coming home late and not answering the phone and then coming home drunk. I told him I didn't care about that and the only thing I cared about was him basically forcing me to have sex. He looked confused and asked what I was talking about. I told him everything and he started crying and apologizing, saying he would never do it again and would never sip another drop of alcohol. He begged me not to leave him, but I already have my mind set and asked that he give me space to think. I want to leave, but I still love him and really want to forgive and forget because things were good, but on the other hand I really don't want that to happen again. He seems sorry and I don't want to make a big life decision when my emotions are high. To be clear, this was rape. He raped you. You're also minimizing the other, minor, problems. It sounds like he's controlling, an alcoholic, and a rapist. He raped you. You were 17 and he was 24 when you started dating. Clearly, an imbalance of power. I'd hazard a guess that pattern is throughout your relationship. Having exited an abusive relationship myself, would you like to know what my friends and family, who had tried to warn me about him, said? Not one single, I told you so, not a one. What they did say? I'm so relieved you got out. There's no coming back from what he did to you. I'm sorry. He raped you. Game over. I'm honestly not sure how to respond to this. Babe, he raped you. Are you in the house with him now? Do you feel safe? I really think you need to leave and spend some time apart. Get some support from friends, family, a counselor and possibly the police. Up to you if you want to stay married to your rapist. But if you stay, you will be raped again. Over and over. Until you leave. My, 22 male, girl I've been seeing, 24 female, threw a fit. So first want to start this by saying I have known this girl for about a month. Up until this everything was pretty carefree and easygoing. We were having a lot of fun together and I was starting to hang with her at her place more often. I think she started getting a bit too comfortable with me as of recent. Basically we were sitting down eating and I got a call from my boss. He wanted me to come in sooner than expected and I couldn't say no. Once she heard me say I'd go in, she started to get super pissed off. She was under the impression I would be spending most of the day with her, but I couldn't say no to work. Right when I got off the call she started getting super pissed off and stormed off to her room crying. I was shocked that she was throwing a literal tantrum at the fact that I had to go into work earlier than expected. I went in the room to check on her and she was bawling her eyes out. I tried to talk to her but she told me to just leave and not to come back. So I did what she said, called my Uber and left because I had to get to work. I see behavior like this as a major red flag because if she is going to handle things she doesn't like this, I don't want to deal with that. She was asking me to FaceTime her hours later but I couldn't because I was at work. She kept insisting we FaceTimed, but when I got back from work I had already planned on spending time with my brother. I told her to just text me because that's the only way I could communicate at the moment. She basically tried to justify what she did and said I have no idea about her past trauma and how in the past that has worked for her with other partners. I have been in my fair share of toxic relationships and this just seems like some seriously unstable behavior and quite childish. Like you're going to have a literal temper tantrum because I had to go to work and couldn't hang out for longer. Can you please tell me whether this is red flag behavior or if somehow I was in the wrong? I have been in my fair share of toxic relationships and this just seems like some seriously unstable behavior and quite childish. Like you're going to have a literal temper tantrum because I had to go to work and couldn't hang out for longer. You're right. It's normal to feel disappointed after plans get cancelled, sure. But any sane person understand that work is work and you can hang out another time. Instead of taking accountability, she puts the blame on you, classic manipulation tactic. It's not her fault, you're just the big bad wolf triggering her and not taking her trauma into consideration. What's the trauma in question? Her partner's having jobs? Be happy that she showed her true self this early on and walk away. Her behavior is absolutely ridiculous and toxic. Grown women acting like that? Ain't no way. I'm out. This is what concerned me. She basically tried to justify what she did and said I have no idea about her past trauma and how in the past that has worked for her with other partners. So, she throws a tantrum as a manipulation tactic? She doesn't get what she wants and then freaks out on purpose to get her own way. Oh, this is like a Chinese military parade, it has so many red flags. Dude. She has serious issues. Stay clear of this one. Oh my dude. Block her. She's learned from past relationships that the way to get what she wants is to act like a toddler. Seriously? I'd be embarrassed to admit that, even to a therapist. Do I forgive my boyfriend, 23 male, for bailing on me, 23 female? I've been asking my boyfriend to call me for a few days after he said last week he'd call me last Monday but never did. We have recently gone LDR. I asked him throughout the week but he is always out with his friends. Yesterday I mentioned how it was beginning to upset me and he promised he'd call last night. At around 5 p.m. he told me he is going to a party. He's not lying as I have his location and the story always adds up, but I am now extremely upset as he has let me down again. I don't know what to say or do anymore. He tells me he loves me but if he can't keep his word on other things why should I believe him? I feel like this relationship is so screwed at this point. A few weeks ago he told me he was going out with friends. Come to find out it was a female friend which he was adamant that they were just friends but after this I don't know how to move forward. I'm tired of crying all the time. I'm so tired. To my knowledge he has not seen her since. He blew my phone up after I went to bed last night around 1 a.m. saying he was sorry and that he had not been on his phone all night. I didn't mention to him that I know this was bullshit because he was active on Snapchat several times at the party, and that he loves me and didn't mean to blow me off. I told him that that doesn't make it okay as he had promised he would call and he didn't, and although it was great to have a social life, that him making promises and then bailing makes me feel taken for granted. He has still not responded but lately he has been going to bed at like 4 a.m. after a long night of partying. I think the best thing to do is just let it go. Don't ask him to call you. Let him call you when he wants to. That's how you'll know who he truly is. How many days has it been that he hasn't called? This arrangement is a MIAR, missing in action relationship, which is grounds for termination. Dump him. I think you should give up on him. He prioritizes many things over your planned time to talk. Just break up with him. It's not worth it. He's clearly not as interested in this LDR as you are and it will full score lead to heartbreak. When he does call, don't answer. Then call him back. Pretend it doesn't matter that you haven't spoken in however long. Say you've been busy. Make some stuff up. You're working out, going to yoga, out with friends. It's like you need to treat him like he's treating you. If you lose him you never really had him anyway.